Most of us grew up with the assumption that the crude oil powering our cars and cities is the liquefied remains of dead dinosaurs, but that is a myth. The real story starts 300 to 400 million years ago, long before the first dinosaur existed. Ancient oceans were teeming with trillions of microscopic algae and plankton. When these tiny organisms died, they drifted to the seabed. Over millions of years, those remains were buried under layers of sand and silt. As they sank deeper into the Earth's crust, the immense weight and pressure began to cook this biological graveyard. When temperatures hit a specific window, between 60 and 120 degrees Celsius, that heat baked the organic matter into a waxy substance called kerogen. Eventually, it liquefied into crude oil. Because oil is lighter than water, it seeps upward until it is trapped by a layer of impermeable rock. For eons, while continents drifted and species went extinct, a vast subterranean battery of biological energy was quietly forming deep underground, entirely independent of human existence. Humanity first encountered this resource about 4,000 years ago in Mesopotamia. Between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, Sumerians noticed a thick, foul-smelling black sludge seeping from the earth. They utilized its waterproof properties to seal their wooden reed boats. The application expanded quickly. The Babylonians used the substance as structural mortar for their buildings, and ancient Chinese empires innovated hollow bamboo pipes to extract gas and oil from the ground. The resource eventually reached ancient Egypt, where it was essential for mummification. The Arabic word for natural bitumen, mumia, is the root of our word mummy. Persians used it to tip flaming arrows, and Greeks used its antibacterial properties for medicine. Yet, despite these uses, the ancient world remained ignorant of the liquid's biological origins. The foundations of global trade, warfare, and ancient religion were unknowingly propped up by prehistoric ocean sludge. By the 19th century Industrial Revolution, the world faced a crisis of illumination. Factories and homes needed artificial light, but whale oil, the primary fuel, had become prohibitively expensive due to overhunting. In 1846, Canadian scientist Abraham Gesner refined crude oil into kerosene. It was a cheaper, safer fuel for lamps, and it signaled the start of a global race for oil. The historic turning point arrived in 1859. Edwin Drake, a retired railway worker, successfully drilled the world's first commercial oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania. He struck oil at a depth of just 69 feet. Drake's breakthrough ignited the modern oil boom. Oil was no longer a rare surface anomaly. It was an actively hunted, mass-produced commodity. The ability to pump and refine this ancient energy allowed humanity to conquer the darkness, extending human productivity deep into the night. John D. Rockefeller realized that the true power of the industry lay not in drilling, but in refining and transportation. In 1870, he founded Standard Oil. Through secret railroad pacts, Rockefeller eventually controlled 90% of U.S. refining, becoming the wealthiest human in history. But the invention of the electric light bulb soon threatened Rockefeller's empire. It promised to make kerosene lamps and the oil industry obsolete. The industry was saved by the internal combustion engine, pioneered by Carl Benz and later mass-marketed by Henry Ford. With the release of the 1908 Model T, the primary utility of oil shifted from keeping the lights on to powering machinery. This technological shift intertwined human movement with the extraction of crude oil, setting the stage for a global addiction. The explosion of cars and mechanized agriculture created an insatiable, exponential global demand for oil. This demand shifted the geographical balance of power. Massive, unprecedented oil reserves were discovered beneath the sands of Iran in 1908 and Saudi Arabia in 1938. In 1960, oil-producing nations formed OPEC. This alliance allowed these countries to seize control over their own geological wealth. In 1973, Arab nations weaponized this supply. During a conflict in the Middle East, they embargoed Western countries that supported Israel. The West faced an immediate economic freeze. Massive inflation and endless lines at the pumps paralyzed daily life. Even the most powerful militaries and economies on Earth could now be brought to their knees simply by turning off a valve. Today, nearly every single facet of modern civilization, from rapid food delivery to global mass manufacturing, remains totally tethered to this single black liquid. We transformed prehistoric plankton into a tool for ancient boats, and eventually into the fuel that gave humanity the gift of light, the power of speed, and unstoppable global industry. But history proves that when a global civilization builds its entire existence upon a single ancient resource, that resource becomes both its greatest triumph and its most inescapable vulnerability.